Hi everyone, you've got Britt and Bailey here, and we're back for season 1, episode 8 of For All Mankind. The episode title is Rupture this week, so I'm a little scared. I don't know, Bailey, are you scared? I feel like last week was intense, and this could be equally heartbreaking.
I was thinking about that when we were getting all set up. I was like, oh no, I forgot how last week ended, and I'm already not in like a mental place to deal with that kind of stuff right now, so I might cry. Let's just see what happens. Let's just go for it.
You know, there's no shame in that game, Bailey, okay? There's no shame. All right, everyone. So yeah, you know the drill. We love to watch For All Mankind. Thanks for joining us and watching alongside.
On the moon?
He's on the... Your husband is Ed Baldwin.
Yes, he is. Can you please tell me how my son is doing?
Get to the point, doctor.
I'm fine.
What's your point, Doc?
But could you imagine going through this and like your husband's not even there and you have no way to reach him? I mean, she just must feel so alone.
To environmental control systems.
That's me! Environmental control system, that's me!
Get Bailey in that room.
It's a relatively new term. It means that the brain isn't showing any signs of life on the EEG, even though the heart is still beating.
But isn't it too soon to call it?
No. I feel like that's a really hard place to be in because physically they're still there with you.
Yes.
I can't even imagine being the one to...
Your son
I can't.
from his accident.
Yeah. Okay, so like Bailey, in all seriousness, okay, do you think you would want to know if you were in Ed's shoes?
I'm like tearing up thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think I would want to know. I think the shock of finding out later and everything like that, I think there's time to cope.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person that I don't like stuff when it first happens, like a surprise or something like that. Negative, I like good surprises, but like if something bad happens or my plan gets thrown off or something like that, I'm usually pretty upset or I'm very thrown off by it at first. And then as soon as I have time to digest it, I can accept it and move on. I'm not saying this kind of thing is something you just accept and move on from, but I know I would want to use that time coping with the new reality as opposed to living in the old one. I don't know. What do you think?
So I've actually thought about this a lot. Obviously, this is my second time seeing this show. Okay, so I've thought about it. If I were Ed, I would 100% want to know because I'm one of those people where like I just always want to have all the facts.
Yeah.
So I would want to know, but if the roles were reversed, and I told my husband this, and he was like totally appalled that I would keep it from him. But I was like, if the roles were reversed and I was in Karen's shoes, I would be like, no, I don't want to tell my husband until he comes home because I would be worried about, it basically compromising his safety in space and returning safely home, right? So like for purely selfish reasons.
Interesting.
Yeah, like for purely selfish reasons, I would basically want to make sure that like that other person was able to like keep a clear head and like not be sort of, impacted in terms of like the mission, not for any other reason than just I'd be concerned about their safety. So yeah, but my husband was like, I can't believe you wouldn't tell me. He was like upset, and I was like, no, like I wouldn't though.
Well, there's two things here. One, obviously you're married and I am not, and it's interesting that you were able to have that like next step of what I tell my partner, because that's not even in my head, right? Like I don't even, who am I gonna tell? Her? Like my cat? Like So it's very interesting that dynamic once you like have a person that you have to like do life with.
Yeah.
The other thing is I really think it's interesting because your answer was like, and I think in your mind you're strong enough to take on it. This thing.
Yeah.
And like when you're out in space you're like, I can take this on, it'll be a good mission still. And then when you were here on Earth you were like, I can take this on for both of us.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those that just kind of takes on the pain. You like burden it yourself and keep trudging forward. I think that's what that says about you.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, I feel like it's an interesting thought experiment. Obviously tragic circumstances, and hopefully nobody ever has to actually like live this experience, but it is interesting. And I think as much as I was upset that For All Mankind did this, I also kind of get it because they're trying to, I think, show us that life is messy and it's painful, and there's going to be stuff, there's going to be things like this that come up the more people go to space, and the more this becomes a regular occurrence.
Yeah, and the issues down here on Earth, they don't go away because now we're in space. That's a huge
Right.
part of it, right? It's like not only are you in a new environment that is the vacuum of space, but you're also still dealing with the same problems that we have here on Earth. I think that's
Exactly.
an important thing.
Yes.
Play. This is a good little sidebar.
All right, good sidebar. Let's see what they decide.
He's up there all alone.
Exactly. He's alone, isolated, with no one to lean on.
You can't just hide this type. It would be a
That's
mistake.
another good point.
Have you talked to his wife?
Being alone is different than having your crew to help you with it.
Have any of you talked to his wife?
But yeah, but Marco's got a great point here. Nobody talked to his wife. What does she want to do?
You're scheduled to talk with him soon. Should we cancel or?
No. I've never missed a call. And he would know something's wrong.
Whew. So think about how hard that's going to be. She's now got to get on a call with Ed and act like nothing's wrong.
And he's gonna ask about his son. What does she say? Oh, he's at practice every. This is not a good plan, my dude. This not good. Not good at all.
But again, there's literally nothing that he can do. If there was anything that he could do, or like if there's any way that the situation could be changed, I would feel differently. But it's a really bad situation.
But this is at the request of his wife. And we are going to respect her wishes in this situation.
Karen wants it this way.
I guess that's part of what a marriage is, right?
Well, and last week we were talking about how there's like a frustration from like lack of control from like all the people involved, and then I think it's important that we respect people's decisions when they do, when they do have opinions about this, because it's like really the only thing Karen can control right now is whether or not Ed knows.
Of everything, you're right. This is like you said, the one thing she can control. Of everything else.
Is how she wants him to find out. So.
Yeah.
I just got a message from the Russian base.
Roger that.
Espionage. I guess that's
me.
fine. This is like sabotage,
It's got
man.
my name on it. It says
Is
deepest
it?
sympathies about your son.
Yes.
How's that supposed to mean?
100%.
Karen's entire world is falling apart. It's broken. I don't think you could ever recover from something like that.
He doesn't even know what happened to his son, and he's just angry. Oh my god.
I know.
I would almost not want to return to Earth at that point. It's similar to like going home to that empty house, right?
Yeah, but like also I feel like you got the news in space too. So the whole thing is everywhere is bad.
Yeah.
There's no way to escape it.
I think the hard thing about this is there's kind of two thoughts of, especially when you talk to people like, would you go to space? A lot of parents say no, and specifically moms, but a lot of them say no, and there's two reasons. The first being, what if something happened to me in space and my child would have to grow up without a parent? And then the other is, what if something were to happen to my child while I was gone and I couldn't do anything? Like, this is literally, like, the worst nightmare for a lot of people, and the sole reason why they don't go to space. And it's, like, happening before my eyes, and, like, I get it. Like, I get why someone would choose to stay on Earth because of that. Like, that's... Whew.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the kind of thing where, like, I just don't, I mean, as much as it's obviously not Ed's fault, but it's like, as a parent, I feel like in your mind, you'd carry this guilt of not being there. And also, I feel like you'd carry this guilt of, like, I went and I did this, but I could have spent, these last 4 months, which ended up being the last 4 months of my child's life, with them. I don't know. I mean, it's just really, it's just really hard. But I think it also depends on like where your mind goes too, because I wonder if some people go to space and they're like, well, like in their mind they're like, I'll be fine. You know what I like? And then I think other people kind of go to like a worst case scenario place where they're like, well, if the worst happened, how would I feel? Kind of just, I think it really depends on how risk averse you are and how much you actually think you are risking, right? Some people maybe don't think that they're risking that much. Some do, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, as a parent, I mean, I just like, I couldn't leave my kids. And I mean, I think if they were older, if they were like young adults or something like that, which I think for a lot of people, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, you can be an astronaut, you know, and I mean, especially for like Mars missions and things like that, right? Like they're looking for people who are on the older side anyway. So, you know, theoretically, but yeah, I mean, if I was like in Deke's shoes, although I don't think Deke has children, but right, like Deke's obviously on the older side. Kind of feel like at that point you go, all right, you know, fine, but young kids, yeah, I don't know. But you know, the interesting thing is it could be our time at any time, so we just don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, that's what you talk about when people join the military, right? I mean, they're not in space, but they're almost like same distance away, right? Like, you know what I mean? In some sense, I guess you can, you know, hop on a flight home and stuff, but it can happen. I mean, there's parents out there that they don't ride the same airplane in case one of the airplanes goes down, right? Like, that's like a whole thing that people go through. It could be driving somewhere. You don't know when.
Yes, and that is definitely like the terrifying part. I think it's just like when you're a parent, it's somebody, I don't know, I feel like this is a famous saying, but right, they say like when you become a parent, like a piece of your heart like lives outside your body. And so it's like, I think that's the tricky part is that, and I mean, like, obviously I know this because I have 3 kids, almost 4, and it's like, it's terrifying, like, letting them go and do, like, you have to let these kids grow up, you have to let them, like, go to school and, you know, and do things and whatnot, but it's like, it's like every phase that they go through as they grow up, it's so hard to just, like, let go because you're, like, in some ways, I think part of the reason is because you're just honestly terrified because you don't want anything to happen to them, you know?
And you have no control, right? It's their life, right? Like,
yeah. So
as a parent, I can't even imagine watching this episode like in your shoes. It's just a whole nother level.
I think the good thing is that this was not the first time that I've seen it. I think had it been the first time I saw this episode, I would, well, because I remember I was bawling, I was sobbing. So I mean, I think it's definitely, yeah, like it's good that I've had some time to like mentally prepare for this.
Wait till we watch season 3 live, and you won't be able to have any warning.
No. Well, or season, yeah. Okay, I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, season 3, I'm so excited about. So, how many more episodes do we have this season? I think only like 2 more, right?
Yeah. Only 2, and then we'll head into season 2.
Oof, exciting.
Better give me some good vibes, because I don't know if I can keep doing this. It's been an emotional couple weeks now.
I know, it has been an emotional couple of weeks. I think it was good that we only did like 1 episode tonight because it was so heavy.
Bring it back down. Yeah, I agree. Any other comments from this episode that you can think of?
Any what?
The whole Margot plot line is interesting. Having to mentor this girl and being like, that was an interesting thing. I think that'll come to light soon.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what she chooses, but
yeah, I definitely am enjoying the like Margot Alita storyline. I think that's really interesting. We didn't see a lot from Ellen and Pam this week. I wish that we had seen a little bit more. The other thing is Molly and Wayne. We haven't seen them in a while. So
in like 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah. So I feel like we're missing out. But I think the whole Gordo situation, I'll give Gordo credit for like going and
finding someone
to talk to. I think it's really unfortunate that he has to kind of do it secretly, but at least he's getting some help. And it's also tough because like I feel like Gordo's going through a lot, but then Tracy's obviously going through a lot trying to help Karen. So it's just like all around, people are just
I'm supporting who?
yeah, the emotions are just like, oh, it's terrible. So, yeah. And then I think in the next episode, obviously Deke just left to go on, his mission with Ellen and Harrison. So I think that'll be really interesting to see as well. And as always, there's going to be some, I'm sure, high drama. Well, I also know, but like there's, it's season
High drama.
finale. Yeah, season finale. We got big things to expect, I'm sure. And of course, there's like also these tensions heating up with, the Russian base as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a really interesting final couple of episodes this season.
I agree. And hopefully we end on a positive cliffhanger and not a negative cliffhanger on episode 10. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Well,
I can't take it anymore.
we will find out.
All right, tune in next week.
Yeah, tune in next week, and thanks everyone for watching with us. And as always, Bailey, it's been a pleasure.
Always. Bye, guys.
Bye.